I want to convert $500,000 in my 401k to a Roth IRA. How do I avoid paying taxes? Smart Asset. You can't avoid taxes when making a Roth IRA conversion, but there are strategies to reduce your tax burden if the circumstances are right. When you convert money from a pre-tax account, such as a 401k or an IRA, to a post-tax Roth IRA, you must pay income taxes on the full value of the post. I want to convert $500,000 in my 401k to a Roth IRA. How do I avoid paying taxes? Appeared first on Smart Reads by Smart Asset. Below are your comments. One thing nobody mentions is that the current tax rates from the 2017 tax legislation are set to express IRA after 2025. The 22% bracket is going back to 25% and 24% is going back up to 28%. This means it might be advantageous to do a Roth conversion now. The article is pretty much pointless. It's just a paid ad for Smart Asset, where less than stellar advisors pay for referrals. First off, very few 401k plans allow for in-plan conversions. And if they did, it would just be a conversion to the Roth option in the 401k, not an IRA. You would street. If you're over 65, you will need to manage withdrawals for conversion against Fed tax brackets and Medicare brackets. Any withdrawals will be added to your MAGI and could push your Medicare monthly up significantly. Clickbait article. You can't avoid paying taxes on tax-deferred accounts, non-Roth accounts. Anything coming out of tax-deferred accounts is taxable by the Fed. Most are right in saying this is an ad. What isn't these days? This is how I look at it. My IRA pays dividends of $15,000 per year, so I pay $25,000 in taxes on a rollover. After a year and a half, my dividends will pay me back the $25,000, and after that, it's all tax-free money. Should have done it soon. Next news. Rich Dad Poor Dad, author Robert Kiyosaki says, only lazy people use their own money. Why you should use other people's money instead. Benzinga. Robert Kiyosaki, renowned for his best-selling book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, advocates a provocative approach to wealth accumulation, stating, "My rich dad always said only lazy people use their own money." This philosophy underpins Kiyosaki's success in transforming negligible funds into substantial returns. Contrary to conventional wisdom, he emphasizes the importance of not using your own money for investments but instead leveraging other people's money. OPM. Kiyosaki's strategy involves innovative. Below are your comments. Didn't the recession of 2008 happen because a lot of people used other people's money to buy houses they could not afford? Wasn't the Great Depression triggered by the stock market collapse that happened because a lot of investors bought stocks on margin, again, using other? He is wrong. There are multiple paths to financial success. Yes, the ultra-rich finance big business with OPM. Tens to 100s of millions. But any small business owner or investor can become rich without it. When you introduce leverage, you introduce risk. Ask people who lost it all in 2008-09. He praised Trump for always paying himself first and stiffing his investors and employees. Remember, this guy makes all his money convincing you to buy his books on how to make money. If it was only that easy. It takes money to generate passive income. It takes a lot of money to generate enough passive income to make the venture worthwhile. Not all going to be Warren Buffett at the end of the day. What's next? Why Ponzi schemes might be right for you. Next news. California landlords are charging $150,000 per month for some properties. I feel like everybody's in panic mode now. Benzinga. Los Angeles mansion owners, once keen on selling their grand properties, are now grappling with a market that's less than favorable for sales. The trend is particularly evident in the city's most opulent areas, where the challenges are twofold. A new tax on luxury sales and a turbulent entertainment industry. The mansion tax, officially known as Measure ULA, which went into effect on April 1, imposes a significant additional cost on the sale of high-value properties. Homes selling for over $5. Below are your comments. I doubt seriously if the majority of people here in CA would be affected by this news. Let them tea cake, I say. I don't really care about a millionaire's real estate issues when the meager $40 a month increase to my Social Security barely makes a difference to me while I'm seeing rising costs. In $150,000 per month. I am looking over my budget and wondering if I can afford 30 minutes. I'm guessing the pool of renters who can afford $150,000 per month is not big. Rest assured, none of the proposed tax revenue will benefit anything other than the general fund. Money will be spent for votes, for California's devastating one-party system. Multiple times Caliph voters approved taxes to fix roads and other infrastructure. Never happens. Worst roads in the government never understands the consequences of their actions. Homeowners will seek other alternatives to avoid paying a sales tax. But the downside is you have properties that have a ton of acquired equity and will no longer see a sale transfer. Homes worth $5 to $10 M plus can have 15 to 30 plus. Next news. This CPA dad opened these investment accounts for his babies to amass millions. Here's how you can. 2. Bank rate. Start investing for your baby with these CPA's tips. Below are your comments. I opened an investment account for both of my kids when they were 3. I put $3,000 in each account and never put in another penny. I bought stock in Disney and reinvested dividends. When they graduated high school, there was enough money for them to get their bachelor's and a master's degree with no S. A couple thoughts I had reading this. 1. Not very many people have $1,000. $500 per kid. Extra a month on top of trying to save for their own retirement to throw into a 529 and an investment T account, which was mentioned. He says start small, but I am a massive budgeter and very frugal and only or you can grow that 8% a year in your own account and hope your children go become functioning adults. Not knowing they have a few million to fall back on, assuming the market even gives that return. And when they do, then you can gift your children the money after they are responsible self-susta. I think they will get audited when a 2-year-old has contributions to a Roth IRA. That is not going to fly. The 529 was always a risky plan since it could only be used for education, but at least now you can roll it over. So they contribute $500 per month and then another $7,000 once a year into an IRA for their newborn. Just like most families with a newborn will be able to do with all the extra money that they have Saint lying around. Well, nice if one can do it. When I was born, my parents took out an insurance policy. Next news. Obesity drugs have multi-billion-dollar market potential, says Oppenheimer. Here are 2 stocks to take advantage. Tip ranks. A key to success in the stock market is a touch of foresight. Not quite precognition, but an ability to spot and put together clues and trends, to discern the next big thing, before it hits. This is true in every stock sector, but today we'll focus on biotech. The biotech firms have famously high product lead times, paired with equally high overhead expenses. It's a combination that would make them unlikely investments, except that when a drug is approved, it can turn into a blockbuster. Success. Below are your comments. Marketing encourages overconsumption. Nutritional content of processed and fast food is exceptionally unhealthy and cheap, leading to obesity. So the obvious answer to create drugs to fight obesity. Late-stage capitalism at its peak? People are ignorant or, to be fair, disenfranchised in Obesity drugs may cause more long-term health problems for users that will cost users and government a lot of money to control. I gained 10 pounds this summer visiting my children. When I came back home, I started my proven 16-hour fasting and watching my carbs, etc. In 3 to 4 weeks I have already lost 5 pounds and now the scale is moving towards the loss of 6. I am confident that after reaching my pre-gain week. Do these analysts have any training or experience in biotechnology? Otherwise they're just gamblers. Or, worse, they're just pumpers. Can't wait for 3 to 7 years down the road when the side effects become fully apparent. Next news. Starbucks suffers record 11-day rout as sales concerns build. Bloomberg, Starbucks Corp. Shares suffered a record run of losses as concern builds that sales trends at the coffee giant have cooled in recent weeks. Most read from Bloomberg how suspects laundered billions in Singapore for year. Wall Street's furious bull run gets reality check. Markets wrap Bitcoin surges past $42,000 even as stocks and bonds take a hit. Harvard alumni rebuke its Israel response with mere $1 donations. Israel's wider war has U.S. cautioning of strategic defeat. Stock drop 1. Below are your comments. Due to what's going on with inflation, many people, including myself, have to be more careful with discretionary spending. I have enjoyed Starbucks on occasion, but you could easily spend several $100s a month if you shopped there on a regular basis. They just built one in my 15K strong town. Makes about the third or fourth. I never use them. I prefer the little mom and pop coffee stands myself. I've never loved Starbucks coffee. Some of their specialty coffee and iced drinks are okay for an occasional treat. Overall, they're just way too expensive and loaded with sugar. I like Starbucks. We used to make regular trips to Starbucks. Those ended a couple of years ago. We do still make an occasional drink purchase there, but it's like 2 or 3 times a year. $7 plus bucks is way too much to spend on one darn coffee drink. Not worth it. I happily drink even a supposedly lesser quality latte if I can get it from a small locally owned mom-and-pop cafe. Next news column. Is it time to sell my Berkshire? Yahoo Finance. Many people have written and talked about how Munger, whom I knew and liked for more than 40 years, had a dry wit and convinced Buffett, a fellow Omaha native, to start buying good companies at reasonable prices rather than making cheap purchases of cigar butt remnant companies that had only a few puffs left. But I had a totally different reaction. Did Munger's death mean that I should bail out of my Berkshire Class B stock, which I bought in early 2016? Below are your comments. Charlie will be missed. But Berkshire has been set up to do well and be resilient for decades into the future. A Teenager's Guide on How to Invest Like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger covers the principles used to build Berkshire for the long term. Godspeed Charlie Munger. I've always admired these two and held a rather large position in Berkshire because they invest in value stocks and manage their cash positions, which I cannot do. However, I recently sold 2/3 of my shares about 90 days ago. IRA accounts and no tax ramifications. Due to May Charlie rip. He had a good career, but none of us gets to live forever in our present body or take our stock portfolio with us. Berkshire doesn't even pay dividends yet. Why in the world would you even consider ever selling it? Even for a moment? Both Munger's and Buffett's families have been instructed to invest in VU and Berkshire after their deaths. Munger has said multiple times his family's money will be in Berkshire. Next news. Jeff Bezos says he doesn't think about Amazon's daily stock price. When the stock is down 30% in a month, it's not going to feel so good to feel 30% dumber. Benzing. A. In 2018, former Amazon.com Inc. founder and CEO Jeff Bezos expressed a distinctive view on stock market dynamics and company growth. Despite Amazon's fluctuating stock prices, Bezos insisted, "I don't spend any time thinking about the daily stock price. I don't." He elaborated on his philosophy during an interview at the Economic Club of Washington, D.C., saying, "At almost every all-hands meeting I say, look, when the stock is up 30% in a month, don't feel 30% smarter. Because when the stock I below are your comments." In the late 80s when the market crashed, and Walmart took a big tumble, Sam Walton was asked what it felt like to lose $3 billion in one day. He said, "I haven't lost anything, it was only paper. I still have all my stores and all my inventory. You only lose if you sell." If I were Jeff Bezos, I think that I'd feel really proud of what I had accomplished in my life. Bezos doesn't run Amazon anymore. You know that, right? Also, Bezos doesn't need to care about the price of Amazon stock because he owns so much of it that anything could happen and he'd still be a billionaire. There are 10,322,000,000 shares of Amazon out there. Bezos owns 9.6% of them. The CEO of AMC is not worried either, because he already pocketed as much money as he could from retail, around $100 million. As well as benefited his family and friends. Next news. Tesla's tax credit gets cut in half. Fords might be safe under new rules. Barron's.com. The Energy Department has new guidelines that will determine which electric vehicles qualify for WA/T federal tax credits in years to come. What cars get which tax credits, of course, can move auto stocks. Exactly why investors should follow along as the details get hashed out. Foreign entities of concern, or FEOCs, are a part of the infrastructure law designed to limit their participation in domestic battery supply chains, explains the Energy Department. Below are your comments. Tax credits earmarked for middle-class priced cars instead of rich people's toys would kickstart the U.S. auto industry to make smaller and less expensive cars. The European car industry doesn't have this problem, as they already do manufacture less expensive versus. So, the models are out there, just n. This has been known since the latest round of government EV giveaways was published. I saw this coming with the requirements surrounding batteries. To build them in the U.S. with domestic raw materials, it would require the mining of those materials. And good luck getting permits for that. It's far-ch. This article might be AI generated. Tax credits for EVs needs to end altogether. The first round of credits did its job in kickstarting EV acceptance, but now that it's going, there's no need to keep priming the pump. The conclusion of this article is incorrect. It has more to do with Brandon's dislike for Tesla. Next news. Ask an advisor. My kids inherited $5 million. How should they handle it? Smart asset. My children have inherited $5 million of stock from their father, whose estate has not yet been dispersed after 11 months, leaving them with a 30% or so loss of value over which they have had no control. Is there? Continue reading. Right pointing arrow. The post. Ask an advisor. My kids inherited $5 million. How should they handle it? Appeared first on Smart Asset blog. Below are your comments. The question implies that retirement accounts are involved. These should have had payable on death beneficiaries and been settled right after death certificates were issued. My father-in-law signed TODs on all his brokerage accounts and bank accounts. TOD is transfer on death. There were only 2 beneficiaries assigned to the TOD accounts. 50% to each beneficiary. When he passed, we sent CODs, certificate of death, to all those accounts and they split them up 50/50. 0. Disp. Father held shares for decades through thick and thin. Beneficiary sees 1 double-digit loss on a STE. PPED up cost basis and hastily panic sells. Actually, the stocks held in the taxable account would have their basis reset to the father's date of death. Even if purchased long ago, the cost basis would reflect a more recent value. My dad left me some old silver Morgan dollars and Mercury dimes when he passed. Should I sell them? How do I manage the $14 or so in taxes I will incur? Help me, Yahoo! I can't make adult decisions and think for myself. Next news. Zuckerberg sells first Meta shares in 2 years after 172% surge. Bloomberg. Mark Zuckerberg is selling Meta Platforms Inc. stock for the first time in 2 years after the social media giant rapidly rebounded from a tumultuous 2022. Most read from Bloomberg how suspects laundered billions in Singapore for years. Bonds, stocks in retreat as rate realism seeps in. Markets wrap. Bitcoin surges past $42,000 as crypto rally gathers steam. Here's how to invest in gold as it hits an all-time high. Alaska Air agrees to buy Hawaiian in $1.9 billion deal. The Meta co-founders. Below are your comments. Another CEO selling stock, and coupled with reduced or eliminated stock buybacks, are not a good trend. CEOs cashing out is usually a sign of something. They are on the front lines, and can see things we cannot. Hope he pays all those taxes as a top Democrat donor that he is. Always, seems the Democrats crying about rich Republicans not paying enough of their fair share as billionaires. But from my vantage point, I see many more liberal progressive billionaires on the Democrat side. Fr. Silicon Valley. And didn't Zuckerstein pony up $400 million to help defeat Trump in 2020? That dwarfs Soros's $179 million to the Democrats. I am continually impressed as to how much more the 2.4% of America's population punch above their elite class, especially when it comes to financially supporting causes that spell. He is buying more land in Hawaii and, of course, a bigger wall, lol. Next news. Virgin Galactic stock tanks after Richard Branson signals no more investments. Yahoo Finance. Virgin Galactic stock saw its biggest drop since June after founder Richard Branson said he won't be giving the company any more money. Below are your comments. The super wealthy still have money to spend in a recession. They depend on recessions to take advantage of low prices and desperate people. I think the Titanic submarine implosion pretty much put a damper on billionaires dumping mad cash on the current look how much money I can spend on stupid things trend. Not likely that SpaceX and Blue Origin are going to get the mega rich to buy a ticket to an early rave. Of course he's not putting more money into this venture. He did what planned to do, cash out. And he knows there's absolutely zero chance that this venture ever makes a profit. It's a archetypical bleepers stock. Expensive and potentially risky roller coaster ride. Very finite customer list willing to try this. Branson may have realized this a bit late. Branson is just another man with more money than he knows what to do with it. He tries to reach the stars on everything but fails to realize that he is only 6'3" or thereabouts. He and Elon could rightly be called the Bobbsey twins. Next news. Supreme Court to hear major case that could upend tax code, doom wealth tax. CBS MoneyWatch. The case before the justices Tuesday could have sweeping implications for the U.S. tax system and derail proposals from some Democrats to create a wealth tax. Below are your comments. Singling groups out for specific tax punishments has already been ruled unconstitutional. So this rule will likely fall. Taxing of unrealized gains has never been done. A stock would have to be sold to realize a gain. Same thing for reinvested dividends. If one cannot reach it to hold it, one should not be taxed for possessing an unrealized gain in the first place. Prelogar wrote, gives Congress the power to tax shareholders pro rata shares of undistributed corpo rate earnings as income. If true, wouldn't that allow corporate profits not paid out as dividends to be apportioned to stock holders and deemed income? How big are Apple's profits above dividends? That could have sweeping implications for the U.S. tax system and derail proposals from some Democrats to create a wealth tax. One would hope so. Any attempt to create a wealth tax would be the end of our capitalistic society. Taxing unrealized gains would be a nightmare to enforce and would. Next news. Alaska Airlines dives on Hawaiian deal. Why the stock is sinking. Barron's.com. Alaska Air Group has agreed to buy Hawaiian Airlines parent in a deal worth $1.9 billion, but the news is having a dramatically different effect on the stocks. Below are your comments. All analysts pumping bullish articles now. No one even uttered a word of possible buyout when the whole valuation of HA was 300 mil. Imagine that. 300 mil to get access to a lucrative segment serving Hawaii. These analysts should be banished. Airlines are currently so undervalued, Alaska is buying Hawaiian on the cheap. ALK stock is sinking because ALK shareholders are selling at over $30 to buy Hawaiian at $5 to $9 b. TTING that the merger will happen with an $18 per shish promised payout. Much larger gain. Only possible glitch is shareholders will likely not go along with the $18 and will demand a higher per share. If Alaska and Hawaiian can get together, why not Spirit and JetBlue? I've been on all these carriers and have found them all to be good companies. Used car salesmen are better at running a company than airline managers. This merger shouldn't even make the news. Next news. Stocks are following the same playbook they did in 2006, and rate cuts might not be the rocket fuel investors are hoping for, Morgan Stanley's CIO says. Business Insider. Gains following a late cycle rate cut have been light compared to when the Fed cuts in the middle of a business cycle, Morgan Stanley's Mike Wilson writes. Below are your comments. Warren B. is not buying stocks at these prices. He buys at dip prices, not at rally prices. He's probably sitting at home right now laughing at everyone buying stocks at these prices. These economists keep on predicting different outcomes each time, but most of the time those predictions are not correct. When Albert Einstein died, he met 3 New Zealanders in the queue outside the pearly gates. To pass the time, he asked what were their IQs. The first replied 190. Wonderf. After big market gain in 2023 from lower inflation, 2024 doesn't need to be a huge gain to be a solid year. If inflation continues to drop, then so will rates, probably gradually. The parallel that matters as far as the Fed is concerned is to avoid mistake made in early 80s of letting inflation roar. Not like 2006 at all. Next news. Dow Jones falls as Spotify stock surges. Cathie Wood sells this stock on monster 109% run. Investors Business Daily. The Dow Jones fell as Uber stock surged. Nvidia stock and Tesla stock were among Magnificent Seven members falling. Cathie Wood sold a stock amid a big run. Below are your comments. So, the ARK fund is exactly where it was at the beginning of 2019, at 46. The S&P 500 is up about 50%. Not inspiring. I remember several years ago, I read a story about an investment analyst who created his own investment company. He picked stocks based on his knowledge and instincts. For 1 year, his investment fund was number 1 in returns on investment. He never came close to repeating that performance. His F. I doubt anyone in the investing sphere takes her seriously. Her funds benefited from the stock market bounce in the latter part of 2020. Since then, her funds have performed at or below other funds investing in the same sectors. She's paying for coverage. Article worthless. Doesn't say when she bought the stock. Next news. Gold hits all-time high. Here's where analysts say it's going next. Yahoo Finance. Spot gold hit an all-time high on Monday, prompting debate over where the precious metal will go next. Below are your comments. A rising gold price is a sign of a failing fiat currency. The bankers will try their best to suppress the price of precious metals and keep the US dollar from losing its last 3 cents worth of purchasing power, but it's a bit too late. Gold is going to do very, very well as the Fed begins a long series of interest rate cuts and finite money printing out of thin air. The dollar at near record highs will fall in tandem with the rate cuts, and the endless spending will cause further dollar decay. I like Newmont mining near Malt. Please tell me which supermarket will take my gold at spot price. Costco is willing to sell gold to their customers but won't take it back for anything. What does I tell you about gold? Next news. BYD is more popular than Tesla. Stock rises on upgrade. Barron's.com. BYD delivered just over 301,000 passenger vehicles in November, up about 31% year-over-year. Included in the total were just over 170,000 all-battery electric vehicles, or BEVs, up almost 50% year-over-year. Below are your comments. Does that mean Tesla is number 2? Funny how GM, Ford, Toyota, Nissan weren't mentioned. Must be a biased Musk hater. Are they saying BYD and Tesla are winning against everyone? Go Tesla. BYD is Chinese EV, of course they will sell more because their market is China. When a Chinese government tells you to buy EV, you better buy EV. I would rather have a Tesla. BYD is Chinese. Yeah. You can invest in Chinese stocks. I'll pass. Barron's equals Democrat media out to malign Elon Musk and Tesla while promoting and praising communist compa. Nice. Next news. Magnificent Seven stocks are taking a break. Why that's bullish. Investors Business Daily. Magnificent Seven stocks generally lagged last week, but that's letting megacaps such as Apple and Microsoft set up new buying opportunities. Below are your comments. Taking a break? Not unless you're a day trader. I own MSFT. Up 55% for 2023, PE 36. AMZN. Up 70%, PE 76. And NVDA. Up 212%, PE 52. And they now represent 1/3 of my stock portfolio's value. Take a look at their year-to-date stock prices on their Yahoo pages and you can see they're all relatively CL. The dual of the dual is the primal in linear programming. However, the primal of the primal does not exist. Why? Soviet Union had magnificent one. It took a longer break. Next news. Disney will pay you to buy its stock now, but you can do better. Investors Business Daily. Disney is famous for extracting top dollar from its fans' pockets. But now, the S&P 500 company is looking to give money to its shareholders. Below are your comments. Disney is overpriced due to a stock battle to control board seats. The real value is much lower, and will stay low until it completely changes back to what families want. So you're a reporter and you want to report that Disney is reinstating its dividend at a very, very tiny 0.3% yield. So you tell people Disney is now paying people to buy its stock. What a deceitful, unethical thing to do. No wonder people no longer trust the press. Next news. Palantir stock has soared this year. This issue could stop its run. Barron's.com. Palantir Technologies shares have soared on excitement for artificial intelligence. But one worry could limit the analytics software firm's future gains, according to William Blair Analysts. Below are your comments. Another link requiring a subscription? Is Yahoo in cahoots with these publications? Why link to it at all? Loaded up 3,000 shares when it dropped below $10. AVG $8.77. Sold half when assigned at $18.50. Just going to stash the rest away until 2040. Shorts are making up whatever they can to drive Palantir down. Next news. Palantir falls as analyst raises questions over Army contract renewal. Investors Business Daily. Palantir stock's strong run in 2023 is running into more headwinds with a bearish analyst on PLTR Street. Raising questions over an Army contract renewal. Below are your comments. Shorts are in a panic, they are getting slaughtered, so they are trying everything they can to get THE stock to drop. Not only has Palantir raised its earnings target and revenue target, but so have several analysts. Now they are making stuff up like, what if the Army doesn't renew? Well, I say, not only will. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.